What is good, YouTube? And today we are talking about Seven Knights Rebirth again, more specifically, the current rate-up banner for Trude. Now, you guys probably saw my last few videos testing out Trude in both Ruby farming and also PvP. I will be testing her out in some more PvE content because I haven't really tried her in Adventure or even Tower yet. But I will say, not really a Ruby farmer, right? Even though she does have all enemy attack, crit damage boost, and a 4 enemy attack, her damage isn't good enough to actually Ruby farm, and you're going to see that her passive is mostly about survivability, so honestly you could probably still Ruby farm with her, but it takes so long that you're never really going to want to bring her over something like a Kyle, Yunhee, Clawhan, and even Tio. So because of that, she is mostly going to be a PvP character. So the reason why she's so good in PvP, if you guys didn't know, she's absolutely crazy in PvP right now, is because of the fact that if you run her in a tanky setup, she's really strong, and also if you run her in the setup with Kyle, she's really strong as well. So what I mean by this is, because she has so much survivability and a decent amount of damage, you can use her as a main DPS with that tank down comp, such as Rudy, such as with Platin, such as with Alice if you have her, and Lena, even Elysia is very good, and Karma. Even though Karma is like a damage dealing tank character, you can actually run them together and they're pretty good. So she's very good in the tank comp. I will say, however, the tank comp does require a lot of investment, so you're probably not going to want to run her in that comp unless you're a whale. The comp that you could probably run her in instead is going to be the one that I'm using for Arena right now. So the one that I'm using is actually this one. You can run this formation with Platin in the front, and then basically Amelia, Kagura, and Kyle in the back to have that 3 attack core to enable Kyle's passive, while also having Kagura and Amelia here to cleanse. And then you have the Trude also in the back to kind of clean up at the end of the fight. Another formation you can do is something like this one, right? Where you're running solo Kyle, and then instead of Amelia, you would run something like Colt, and then instead of Platin, you can run something like Elysia. This is very good for turn 2 gameplay because you can just queue Elysia's skills and then cleanse off any debuffs. If you have her on Orchestrator, she's also very good. Also, there's also some people running Trude solo frontline like this. I've seen people do this. Also fine, there's a lot of ways to play her, which is why she is such a good character for PvP. So yeah, Trude is insane for PvP. Is she worth going for? Now this is the question that everyone's asking me because people are getting mixed results with her. And I'll tell you why people are getting mixed results. So the reason why is because she really needs stats. And the reason why she needs stats is because she's just a bruiser, right? She's not like a solo DPS like Colt or Kyle or Tio or Yunhee, where you're just going full glass cannon and then like, a revive ring or something like that. But with Trude, she has a built-in revive, she has a ton of mitigation, she has block rate, and she also wants to do damage. So she is very stat hungry, meaning that she does require very good gear. Now on top of that, the reason why that is important is because even though she requires very good gear, well, you get so many stats from Transcendence that even if you ignore the skill upgrades, the Transcendence honor is so important. In fact, this is a character that you could probably take to T12, and it's like one of the best characters because she utilizes attack, defense, and HP, all 3 very well, right? Other characters like Kyle, Tio, Kagura, even tanks like Rudy, they can only really utilize 1 or 2 of the stats, but Trude uses all 3, similar to Karma. So this makes her a very investment-heavy character, and even if we ignore the skills, she requires a lot of Transcendence for the stats. But if you actually look at the Transcendence effects, it's very important. T2 is basically required. You absolutely need this barrier. You need this barrier because this will take some of that pain endurance damage that is ticking away on you, and also just allows you to just tank a lot more damage. So this is very important, absolutely needed to actually play her. And then her passive. So T6 gives her 100% crit rate, right? And then she requires a lot of stats to play. Well, you can kind of see this is also kind of required, right? You know how Tio is pretty much required at T6 to play at the very high end of PvP? Well, Trude is like that, but even worse, because she needs other stats to be tanky, right? She can't just die and res and reset her skill cooldowns and do something. she actually needs to like survive long enough and do enough damage and be tanky so that she can live into the later stages of the fight. So because of that, I think it's pretty obvious with Trude, even though she's a really OP character for PvP right now, I would say if you're not gonna get her to T6, you probably don't want to pull on her banner, because yeah, she's like a T6 or skip character, not even a T0. You don't even want her at T0 because she doesn't really do anything at T0. She's not good in PvE really, and she's mostly a PvP character. I think they released her most likely because we have, I don't know why I'm restricted from it, but because we have real-time arena and the new arena game mode that came out. So she's strictly a PvP character, but yeah, for PvE she's not that great. So if you're not gonna go for T6, you can definitely skip for her, or skip on her and just save your rubies. And it might suck because she looks so good in PvP, but the meta will always change, right? So it doesn't really matter too much. We saw TO fall out of the PvP meta in like 3 weeks or something like that, 4 weeks. Even the Magic team fell out of the meta in like 4 weeks. So a good time to save your rubies, because we do have like Lubu coming up. We also have Wukong coming up. They did confirm it, and they also said we have a collaboration coming up. So you shouldn't feel bad that you can't T6 her. In fact, you should feel better because now you can save for the future banners, which are also confirmed, that will also be very broken, and maybe those characters won't be like a T6 or skip character. I'm not really a fan of this, to be honest. I really hope they don't do this anymore. I'm okay with Trude being a strong character, right? But the fact that you can't play her unless she's T6 is pretty annoying, right? Yeah, I don't really like this 100% crit rate boost on T6 because it's such a whale character. Even though I do have her T6, and I'll probably keep pulling on her banner, the thing is, like, it just feels bad and it doesn't look good for the game. So, yeah. But if you do want to see her potential at T6, I'll show you a quick game just because people have been asking me to showcase in some of my videos. But you can see she is giga tanky. Like, look at her health, it's not going to move at all. And look at the damage she does. And you don't really need to utilize Kyle's skills too much with her because Kyle does a ton of damage with his basic attacks, as you guys know. But the reason why Trude is so good is because, yeah, she just does a ton of damage. She is still full HP here. And you have to realize, when she dies, she is going to revive to full health. So she is literally at full HP with another life. And a barrier. So, yeah. I mean, this character at T6 is literally Thanos, but before then, you're gonna notice that she is nowhere near as good. We have another slash and bash. Like, look at this. So broken at T6, so I know it might be tempting to pull for her, but you don't need her to climb. If you have like a really strong Kyle, if you have some other strong PvP characters, you should be okay to climb. But at the top end, Trude is definitely very powerful. And even more so than this, I think she's stronger in the tank team. So yeah, if we win, she's at 10% health. She still has another life. Like, when she dies there, she'll res again. So that's how strong she is. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and let me know down below if you guys are pulling for Trude or if you're skipping on her banner.